David Letterman.
Hi, Norm.
Hello, David.
Thank you very much. Sir. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, good God.
Introduce me to your buddy.
This is Adam Eget.
Hi, Adam.
My trusty sidekick.
Nice to meet you.
Now, the only context in which I know Adam Eget is your book.
Oh, yes.
Which I read. I couldn't put it down, as they say, and read it in like a day and a half. And I loved it. And then I knew nothing about this man.
Yeah.
But I knew a counterpart to this man, I believe, at the Comedy Store named Harris Pete.
Ah, yes.
Who Harris Pete, when I started, well, he sort of came along with everybody in my group. He was the doorman for a while, and then became an MC for a while. Oh. And do you know him? Did your duties overlap with his?
I came right after Harris had left. I know he was still there. He was there for decades, I believe.
Yeah. Now, how many of the things that Norm writes about in your book are true?
Well,
regarding you.
That's a tough question. Norm, what do you think?
Well, should I just go ahead and mention what?
I guess what identifies Adam the most is that I discovered him under the Queensboro Bridge, jerking off punks for $15 a man.
That's
what you're getting at?
Yes, that's what I was tiptoeing up to.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, even if you're best of friends, can you still print that about someone if it's not true? Or can you print that about someone if it's true? And I want to know, and it's none of my business, but there it was in the book, so I felt like, well, now I'm part of this. Yeah. I can at least ask.
Sure. Well, he was a young man. And it was, Boys Town? I was the savior. I took him out.
Yeah.
I didn't procure his services.
Right. Now, Adam is, honestly, and again, none of my business, and you don't need to be candid with me, but...
Tell the truth.
Yeah, it was a different time. I was young. We all have to make our livings, and we all go through rough patches.
Listen, man, New York back in the 70s, that was hard kern.
I was just hoping that we could loosen the noose on the ugliness here today. Okay, that's about all I had for you, Adam. Thank you.
Well, some people's ugliness are other people's beauty.
Well, it seems like you've, not that, you're fine.
Yeah, I should be.
You should be.
I should be.
There's still issues?
I mean, everybody has issues, right?
He goes to a psychiatrist. Have you ever gone to a psychiatrist?
Yes.
What do they tell you?
Well, I've never gone for that particular issue.
Affliction?
But every time I've gone, I've been in great duress, just hot anxiety. You know what that is? Just like...
Well, I had panic.
Yeah.
Have you ever had panic?
Yes, I've
had attacks?
Well, anxiety attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. Is it different than panic?
Well, panic attacks, you feel an impending death.
No, not impending death. I've been led to believe that anxiety is connected to OCD somehow.
Oh.
And so you have some SSRI or whatever they're called?
Yeah, and they work just fine. But the psychiatrist, I would always go, I would cut in line to get to the psychiatrist because I would believe that my problems are far worse than anybody else's, with the exception of perhaps Adam. And I would get there and I would unload and I would unload and I would unload, and finally I would be done, and after I unloaded I would not feel the need to ever come back.
Oh, I see.
So I would go back a second time just because I felt like they felt invested in my misery.
You ever make stuff up?
And then I would start making stuff up. Yes, making stuff up. And I remember one time telling the woman I was seeing, I said, oh, geez. And she said, what's the matter? This is not that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Making noises, guttural, kind of whistling lung sort of noises. And she's an elderly woman and delightful. And I said, oh, God, I think I'm going to vomit right here. Teasing.
Oh.
And she said, oh, I think you should go home now. And so I got up and left.
Huh.
So that worked if you want to get out of a session.
They don't like jokes. I went one time, and I was in the Fifth Avenue in just some apartment, somebody's apartment building, and they made me go for gambling. And anyways, a lady was there, and she kept asking me this question. I'm joking. Oh, what about your father? I'm joking. She's like, enough with the jokes. So then I can't joke anymore. So now I'm just crying and I can't. And then she's like, time's up. I'm like, no. Like, I'll pay anything. Let me say it. She's like, get out. And then you're in the cold New York with hot dog vendors, tears going down your eyes. They don't care about you.
No, and then you head over to the Queensboro Bridge.
Yeah, then you get a little release.
Yeah.
My first time I ever went to a psychiatrist, when I was a boy, I went to a psychiatrist in Vancouver, British Columbia. I went 4 times, and I didn't go the 5th time because he committed suicide.
Wow.
So I read in the newspaper, all kinds of problems this guy had. He was in debt and embezzling and all this. And all I kept thinking was I wasted like 4 hours of his last life complaining about how I couldn't find a house.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame yourself for this.
No, I don't.
No, as long as we can have a good laugh about it now. Yeah. That's all that counts, really, if you look at it.
Now, we know where I found Adam. Where do you find your trusty sidekick, Paul Schaefer?
Wow, I can talk about Paul to the point of people might think it's exaggeration. I found him. He was on I believe the 6th floor of our office building at 30 Rock when we were starting the late night show, and he had worked at Saturday Night Live. He was the original musical director on Saturday Night Live, band leader and so forth. And then he had gone off to California to make a pilot with Norman Lear called A Year at the Top, which did not work. So I chatted with him for a few minutes, and I said, "Fine, let's go." Not full understanding the range of what the guy could do musically. Without question, a genius. You talk to anybody who's been in the show, or people who have not been in the show, people who have worked with him, a genius. And the other thing is the guy can't read music. And I think, how does that work? Apparently, he could read music before the accident. No, that's a joke. And then it turns out he's so funny. And he loves show business in the way show business is meant to be loved.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Martin Short.
That's exactly right.
So this was very lucky. Did you ever think before Paul Schaefer of getting a sidekick, Ed McMahon guy?
No, we'd had the morning show where we had a band, and
who was the band leader there?
It'll come to me in a second. But we also had Edward Newman, who was
I remember that because I remember him doing when he started the news, they would applaud.
Mm-hmm. He would be I would be where you are, and Edward Newman would be right here reading the news. Yeah. And there was a story about a notorious gangster, a mobster, had died. I forget who it was, oddly enough. And when he reported the death of the man, the audience burst into laughter. And so NBC News
was it a Creepy Carpus?
No, it was again that name. Frank Owens was the band leader. This guy, it was like Sam Giancana. Let's say it was Sam Giancana.
Yeah.
And the audience exploded in laughter. So then NBC News said, "Well, this you can't." So they moved him to a different studio.
Now, what'd you figure after that happened? After the complete disaster, right?
Absolute failure.
Absolute.
A mess.
On the floor.
It was so funny. At the time, it was not funny. But my girlfriend of the day and the woman who created the show and was the head writer and producer,
Bonnie Franklin. I was just guessing.
Yeah, Bonnie Franklin. So now we're just taking the weekend off, and we don't know where we're going. We drive up the coast of the Long Island Sound. We end up in a town called Mystic, where you can have your picture taken where you stick your head through and you're a pirate and that kind of stuff. And we got the Sunday Times, and we're whipping through the Sunday Times, and we come across this big 6 or 7 page, full page, every page, front and back article about how the NBC daytime network had been destroyed by me.
By you.
Yeah, and there's pictures and everything, and it just goes on, and that's our Sunday morning. And nobody had bothered to tell me. I mean, we knew things weren't going well, But nobody had bothered to tell me that we had single-handedly blown up the daytime network and that affiliates couldn't run away fast enough, and they were getting game shows ready to, because we had 90 minutes of network time that
It was
had
a 90-minute show.
Yeah.
Did you
10 to
deal with the
11:30.
affiliates?
I had to make a lot of calls, and in one case, the general manager of the NBC affiliate in Atlanta said, "Well, I'll carry it, but you have to agree to come down here and host the local Emmys." So I said, "Okay."
Subscribe to Nom Burger King.